How to Get Out of a Gang. Now, many of you have read my book, Fake Blood, and it is the story of my own daughter who is and was, no, actually still is, a Bloods gang member. And it is the story of my search for her and how I lived in various gang trap houses looking for her without letting them know my purpose and intent. And if you read the book, if you have Kindle, you can read it for free. You'll see the different experiences that I went through in order to keep my cover and to achieve my goal of finding her, which I did. And but she didn't leave the gang. She stayed with them. She actually was very angry at me for finding her. But I did realize during this period, which was over several months, and it involved me being in and out of several different trap houses, because my first few attempts, no one knew her. And I didn't go there asking for her. That was the main thing, because that can get you killed. I actually went there undercover. I went there as a person who needed a place to live and was willing to pay the King Blood to stay in the trap house. And so that's how I was able to stay there. And I also contributed to their weed fund by virtue of giving money to the house. And I also gave money pretty much to anyone who asked for it, so that I could be safe and so that I wouldn't have to do other things in order to be able to live as peacefully as possible while I completed my mission of finding my daughter. So during that time, I realized that there were a lot of young men and women who were caught up into that lifestyle that probably didn't want to be in it. They may have thought at first, in the beginning, being in a gang may seem really cool, but over time, it can prove to be an overwhelming responsibility, and it could eventually ruin your life. So I thought it was very important to make this video for those of you who might want to be out of the gang. The most common way out of a gang, and unfortunately the surest way out of the gang, is to die. But it is possible to escape alive. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to tell you how to get out alive. I know there was a popular movie, Blood In, Blood Out. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be that way. So the first thing you got to do is you got to stop representing your clique. So you got to get rid of your bandanas, stop sagging, toss the gang beads, anything that you wear that represents your gang affiliation. You have to drop it, just like a bad habit. You have to stop representing your clique and start representing what you want to be in life. And I have to tell you this, in my travels to find my daughter, I ran across old people who were still representing their gang affiliation. There was one brother in this one trap house that I was in who had to be over 50 years old, but he still claimed his set. And there's something really sad about that. Come up with some excuses. Sooner or later, the peeps are going to ask you, well, why you haven't been posting up? You're not answering your phone. You're not wearing your bandanas. You're not repping. And you're going to have to come up with something. If you live with parents, then you should let your parents know what's going on, because any loving, caring parent will help you get out of the clique. So if you tell your parents, tell them, say, Mom, Dad, or whoever you're living with, Grandma, whoever is responsible for your care, if you're still a minor, let them know, you know what, I've been doing this, I want to get out. Can you help me? Can you put me on lockdown? Can I change schools? Can I move? Can I go live with someone else? You got to be responsible for you, because you only have one life. So you've got to get people involved in what you're attempting to do. And this way, when you tell the clique, you know what, I just can't, I can't ride anymore. My parents got me on lock. They said they're gonna get me, send me upstate if I don't, leave and not do this. And this will throw suspicion off yourself and put it on someone else. And for this type of activity, it's best because you don't want to let them know. The worst thing you could do is let anyone in the clique know that you're getting out. Isolate yourself from the gang. If you have to, take public transportation instead of walking and avoid the spots where the gang is kicking it. If you're out of sight, most of the time you'll be out of mind. They'll realize that you're not holding up your end and someone will question it. But if you're not around, they can't question you. Fellow gang members cannot be trusted. There are rules about keeping secrets from the guys on the top, from the king gang leaders, whether it's the King Blood or the King Crip or the King Latin King, whatever it is. So if someone finds out about your motive and they tell, you're either going to get punished, you're going to get jumped, or you may even get killed to set an example. A lot of you who know my story know that I did roll with a couple of gangs when I was younger. It wasn't as serious as it is today. Back in the 70s when we had the black spades, yeah, we went on bangs, but nobody got shot up. Basically, everything that happened, you put in work with your hands. And we did silly stuff like rob stores and, things like that. It was not like today. In that regard, it is a new day. And it's so serious now that you may even have to move. This sounds drastic, but so is gang life. As time goes on, if they find out that you've slipped through their fingers, because remember, the gang's power is in its membership. This is why recruitment is so important. They find out that you're not down anymore. They may threaten you or even your family. So find a relative in another state until the heat cools down and stay in that state if possible. You don't always have to root where you're planted. You can uproot and go plant yourself somewhere else. And the chances are the gang members don't know the address of your relatives in other states, and no one's going to give it to them. Whatever you do, don't come back to the hood for whatever reason. They may have forgotten about you, or they may still be looking for you. And since you don't know which one it is, you're safer to just not even come back. Sure, they'll be mad, and they'll be ready to do whatever they feel they need to do. So it's not worth it to come back. Any friends that you had in the gang, they weren't your friends. And especially once you're out of the gang, they're definitely not your friends. So don't ever contact them again. If you really, really and truly, honestly want to get out of the gang, you have to cut off contact. That means shutting down your Facebook. A lot of you like to give shout outs about where you're going, what you're doing, who you're with. Shut it down. All your social media, shut it down. Once you stop contact with them, never reestablish contact again. That's a big mistake. If possible, before you move, try to find out if where you're going has limited or no gang activity in that town. You don't want to leave one situation only to fall into another. The other thing is, a lot of these gangs, their reach is very far, so you don't know who they know. You definitely don't want to go to a town where you're trying to reestablish yourself and someone finds out that you're running from the New York set and people have a price on your head or whatever the case may be. Once you've decided to leave that gang life, and it's a big decision, don't go back. Don't advertise your new address. And, it's the path to nowhere. It usually only ends in death or in jail. And once you realize that, and you realize that there is a better life for you out there, especially those of you who have kids. My daughter has 5 kids. They're not being raised by their mother. Teach your kids the dangers of joining a gang. And remember, it's better to be safe than sorry. Thank you for listening. God bless you. And pass this on, please. Thank you.